So you're wondering whether or not it's worth to get your A1 license, and now you're here to be convinced that it is. Well, you've come to the right place. So I'm gonna give you some pros and cons that you need to know before you make your decision, and I'll give you my final thoughts. So I've been riding my NT125 for almost 3 years now, and a review of my bike will follow, so hit the subscribe button so you don't miss it. Alright, in this past 3 years I've had plenty of time to form a strong opinion on 125cc motorcycles, but before we go there, let me just quickly explain what the A1 license is. If you already know this, you can skip this part. So basically they restrict the amount of power you're allowed with 3 licenses: the A1, the A2 and the full A license. The A1 license allows you to ride a motorcycle or scooter up to 125cc. A 125cc motorcycle has an average top speed of 130 km per hour, so you're not dealing with that much power. And that's why a lot of people skip these lower cc bikes. They want to have enough power on the freeway and pop a wheelie here and there. I don't know. What I do know is that if you're unsure if the license is worth the money, here is the number one reason, and that's passion. A passion for riding. So starting with an A1 motorcycle license is a choice you make with your heart and not with your head. So it's not going to be financially smart, because you need to pass another test to get your A2 or full A license. And this is what I struggled with the most, because I was a broke first year university student, 18 and a half, and I just didn't want to wait 2 years to get my A2 or code 80. And I was like, is this €1,000 really worth it? Is it worth the experience I'm gonna miss out on? And that's the question you need to answer. Are you gonna skimp out on the A1 license because of €1,000? I mean, sure, it's a scam. They could have made a better system, like that your license upgrades after 2 years, and you just upgrade your license when you got it like once. I think the system is necessary. A lot of people have egos the size of gold wings and simply don't educate themselves enough about motorcycles. I've learned a lot the last 3 years, and I've learned about anticipating danger, motorcycle maintenance, and most importantly, I've grown my passion. I know it sounds kind of cringy, but motorcycling is genuinely something I love more than anything at the moment, and you'll never know when the European restrictions will ban motorcycles, because they're already planning to ban it at 2030 or 2035. And just look at the discontinuation of the R1 and understand that the time you've got left to ride a motorcycle is very limited. Reason number 2, easy to handle. These smaller 125cc motorcycles are super easy to handle. It's absurd how maneuverable they are. You'll run out of scales way before you ever run out of lean angle. And it's kind of terrifying how low you can go on a motorcycle while still having enough lean left. And sometimes when I lean too much, I still get surprised, because I somehow have enough grip to not fall. These bikes also don't have the power to really upset your grip or suspension on the road. You can really push the limits without the bike tweaking like an R1 would. Whoa, what's going on over there? Filtering, by the way, is also insanely fun. You fit through every gap and you really don't feel like you're stuck in traffic. A small bike like this has its hooligan factor, and a bigger bike just can't replicate the same feeling. And I know this because I've ridden a Tracer 700, and without a doubt in my mind, I prefer the 125. Okay, reason number 3, confidence. When you're starting out, it's all about improving your fundamentals, and with that grows your confidence on a motorcycle. My first month on the road was terrifying, to say the least. I just gotten my license, and from now on I ride without supervision and no one to save my ass if something went wrong. Thankfully, with a 125 motorcycle, you get to focus on the basics: acceleration, braking and cornering. Okay, I might have lied about the acceleration part, that one is not existent, but you get the point. The benefit of having a A1 license is that you start developing these skills at a young age, and you'll be a much better rider than people who started later out. Learning things like rev matching, cornering, emergency braking and swerving, and anticipating danger is just way safer on a smaller cc bike. Why? You can not go fast enough to get yourself in real trouble. Sure, you can self-delete on a 125cc motorcycle. It's not about that. It just takes longer to accelerate to dangerous speeds, and unless you ride into a tree or a pole, you should be fine. Reason number 3, safety. The MT125 is super forgiving, and the amount of times I should have smashed my face into a pavement because I did something stupid is not something I can count on one hand. The bike is so lightweight and it will correct most of the mistakes you'll make. And that's not all. Have you ever seen someone on a scooter wear proper riding gear? In my 21 years of breathing, I've seen like 2 overweight 50-year-olds with bright yellow full face helmets instead of an open helmet. They don't even wear gloves because, I don't know why, gloves look badass. Motorcyclists are just more aware of the dangers of riding on 2 wheels, and I think something about scooters just doesn't inspire you to wear the right gear. Motorcyclists are just generally more aware and committed to buying gear, and it just looks way cooler wearing gear on a motorcycle instead of a scooter. Helmets, gloves, everything is part of the package. However, it's very expensive. So considering you probably spent most of your money on a motorcycle, you don't really have enough money to buy gear. So when you start at 18, you have way more time to start building up your closet in regards to gear. I began with a €100 helmet, and now I have a €350 mid-range helmet. And I also skipped the riding shoes, so after 2 years I finally got them, and that's just not something you can skip on a bigger motorcycle. Experience. Every mile counts, and with an A1 license you will gain a very valuable experience for when you will ride your real bike. So the chances of getting into motorcycle accidents are the biggest in the first year, so you need to control your excitement every time you jump on a motorcycle, but that's just not gonna happen. You will twist the throttle, overcook the corner. It just happens too naturally. And like I said in the video, overcooking the corner on a 125cc motorcycle is just not the same. It's important that you're riding a motorcycle that allows for those experiences to be your first and not your last. I'm looking at you 1000cc motorcycles. Okay, I can go on and on about this, but basically your bike needs to forgive your dumb mistakes and keep you out of serious trouble. And a 600cc is just not gonna give you that right, because they demand more respect, and often it's more than you can give them in your first year of riding. Everyone is different, and this may not be applicable for everyone, but I'm sure it's safe to say that it won't be a bad decision if you start on a 125cc. Okay, let's talk about the downsides. The first downside is power. The biggest downside of an A1 license is the power. You're restricted to 125cc and you're gonna be slow. Your top speed and acceleration are not gonna be impressive, and this also can make highway riding less enjoyable, because merging on a highway is just impossible, especially if there's like a truck there and you have to merge behind them and go way under the speed limit. It's just not ideal. You also might be struggling to keep up with traffic. Another downside is that you'll grow out of your 125cc motorcycle pretty quickly. Once your confidence builds up, you quickly want more speed and more power, and I felt this way after 1 year. But I was able to sit out another 2 years because I got attached to this motorcycle. Some people might say a 125cc is not a real bike and they won't take you seriously as a rider. There is an idea that a rider should have a powerful motorcycle, and it happened to me one time. Someone came up to me as I parked my motorcycle. He came with enthusiasm, but once he realized it was a 125cc motorcycle, he quickly became uninterested and acted like I wasn't really riding a motorcycle. He just thought it was a bigger bike because of my aero sound. But stuff like this shouldn't discourage you from buying a 125cc motorcycle, because the opinions of others shouldn't stand in the way of your own opinion. Does it really matter? I'll tell you for free that it doesn't. Unless it's my opinion, then you should listen to me. Alright, I've talked enough about this. In my opinion, I recommend everyone to start on a 125cc motorcycle, and that's what I've done myself. I hope I convinced you to ride and get your A1 motorcycle license. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Ciao!